Today we're going to be meeting Debbie and Kevin Slack. And they're neighbors of mine in Homer, New York, which is in central New York State. They're going to give us tips on helping a youngster with Down syndrome. So I'm just going to say, if you were going to give tips, Kevin and Debbie, what would some of them be to a parent who has a child with Down syndrome?
I'll go first. One of the most important things you can do is you have to treat the child as if there is no disability whatsoever. You have to treat them as normal as possible. Give them as much exposure to as many different things as early in their life as they're able to handle.
And would you agree, Debbie?
Absolutely. Our child was exposed to a neighborhood, a village. Sometimes they say a village raises a child, and we feel that our community has helped us raise Kory because he was active socially, involved in activities surrounding as many people as possible, as many different people as possible. He's learned so many things just by being with people in an everyday normal life.
Now, Kevin, you have a restaurant, and I often see your son Kory in that restaurant, and he seems to get along with all the customers. Could you just give me some background on that?
That goes back to what my wife just said. Since day one, when we first bought the restaurant, we bought it with him in mind. We built a nursery on so we could have him around with us at all times. We'd put him right in the high chair and put him out front, and we'd feed him there and just let him interact with the customers and let them interact with him. And he just seemed to blossom the more he was exposed to different things and different people, and it was just a wonderful experience, and we probably wouldn't change a thing if we had a chance to do it all over again.
He learned from everyone. It wasn't just us. I mean, we would put him out there, and he learned different things from different people, and it was just amazing.
So exposure to the world is very important.
Absolutely.
What would be some things you would tell a parent don't do?
Well, definitely don't hide him away. Don't be ashamed. Don't be scared. Don't feel that it's your fault that your child was born with a disability. Because you see that so often, that people are scared or ashamed, or they feel that somehow the disability is their fault, when actually they had nothing to do with that whatsoever. You just have to take it step by step, day by day, and just try to find whatever support systems you can use to your advantage, because there are support systems out there. We had to find out. Well, luckily we had people that brought them to us, but you don't know what kind of help is out there until you start looking and asking questions.
Would you say it benefits to meet other parents who have a child with the same situation, the same condition?
Yes, because it's another learning experience, another growth, more ideas. Sometimes you don't agree with the other parents. You don't feel like they're doing what you're doing, and you're out there doing everything you can, and they may not be doing that, and it's very frustrating. But we've offered help in many occasions to many parents with our philosophy on how we were raising our child, and we feel we were very helpful doing that.
Now, when I see you interact with Kory, you don't make any adjustments, apparently. You just treat him like, yeah, that's Kory, he's a young man, and we just talk naturally, and we don't do anything special. Am I correct with that?
That's what it is.
It's very true, and I've often gotten in trouble sometimes with my wife, because I'll let him do pretty much anything he wants to. I can remember when he was a little boy crawling on the kitchen floor. He got into the cupboards, removed every pot and pan, and started playing the drums and cymbals, and she asked me what I was doing, and I said, well, that's what he wanted to do, so we're not going to stop him from doing anything that he wants to do. And that has transpired into later in life, whether it was school or sports or getting a job. You never stand in the way of anything that they want to do.
Well, you mentioned school. Could you comment on how you feel about the education that Kory has received and the teachers who have taught him? either one of you.
We have been very lucky. Kory was the very first child with Down syndrome or with a disability that started in the Homer School District at the age of 5 in a regular kindergarten class. He was kind of an experiment at the time. And he was brought into a regular kindergarten class, and since then he went to first, second, third, fourth, all the way up to graduating from high school with his peers that he started with. And still,
I'm sorry, you said graduating from high school
he graduated from
with
high
Down
school.
syndrome?
Yes,
So if a parent says that my child couldn't do this, you would disagree?
absolutely. Kory also has his learner's permit and took 2 years of driver's education, and he is able to drive a vehicle because he wanted to.
Well, and he was also on the basketball team, the wrestling team,
Karate,
karate.
swimming, he was an Olympic swimmer. All these things were because he wanted to try them, and we found ways in order for it to happen.
What has frustrated you, either in the educational system or elsewhere, about reactions to Kory from others?
Well, that's a tough one because we really never ran into too many problems. For some reason, Kory was enveloped by his friends and peers, but we have run into people that, have had trouble getting the education or the services, whether it be speech, occupational therapy. Some people, friends of ours, have had to fight for these things, and I can tell parents, fight for everything. Don't ever be turned down no matter what people say. Keep fighting. Never give up, because your child is entitled to every possible service that's out there, and you have to take advantage of it because those services are out there.
So a parent has to be an advocate for their child.
Absolutely. At all times. That's the number one thing. And you don't get mad, and you don't get mean. You just go out there and find as many different things as you can, and that's my advice. It's out there. The world's out there, and you just take advantage of every little bit of it.
Give them the speech example when they were going to take away his speech.
Oh, when he was in school and they wanted to discontinue his speech, they said he had plateaued, and that word doesn't exist in our vocabulary. And Kory, at that point, was continued with speech right up through his high school years, and he didn't plateau. He grew, he learned more, and there is no such word.
We
as
went right to
plateau.
the director of special education and said, "You're not going to take his speech away no matter what." We fought for what we thought was right, and he continued receiving that speech therapy until he graduated.
I've heard some parents tell me that they were told by doctors, of all people, I wouldn't bother putting too much energy in this child because you're going to be wasting your time. Do you understand what I'm saying?
We were told that.
We were told the same thing.
We were told that our child, we could choose, they would bring people in to help us choose a place for him to go, that we did not need to take him home. Of course, with us, that was just not even anything that we would discuss.
Not an option.
It was not an option from day one.
What I'm hearing from you is that Kory's not exceptional. He's your son, and you respond to him as we would respond to any child as an individual.
Absolutely.
Have I got it correct?
Absolutely.
Oh,
He
this
gets
is-
disciplined. He gets disciplined. He gets praised. He gets treated just like my other children. I have 2 other children, and he has been treated no differently.
Well, Debbie and Kevin, I can't thank you enough for sharing some of your perceptions, and I know it's going to be beneficial to other parents who have a child but may not know what you know and may not have your attitudes. So thanks an awful lot.